Hey guys, the Sephora Spring Sale, the Sephora VIB sale, the Sephora Spring Savings Event, however you refer to it, it is here. It is upon us. I'm so excited. It actually starts in a few hours here. So my video is going live on the evening of the 9th. Or late afternoon if you're here on the West Coast. So the West Coast can start shopping at 9 p.m. this evening. East Coast can start shopping at midnight. And at least that's how it's been in the past. It officially starts April 10th. But that would be midnight East Coast. So I'm so excited to be bringing you 17 of my makeup recommendations. And this year I'm actually breaking out my recommendations into separate videos. So today will be makeup. Tomorrow I'll have a skincare and hair care recommendations video. And then I will end on Saturday with body care and fragrance. And the reason why I'm doing that is because my recommendations video for this sale has always been incredibly long. I've always had to cut out products or whatever. And I thought, I don't want to do that. I love spring beauty. I'm a fall winter gal, but when it comes to beauty products, I really like the spring season. So I really wanted to dedicate different videos to different products. Anyway, enough yip yapping. Let's get into my recommendations. I am going to start with foundations, and a lot of my recommendations, I'm really trying to stay away from products that I bring up in almost every favorites, most used, recommendations videos, etc., and really trying to hone in on newer products, products that I really love that maybe I just haven't been able to spotlight, or seasonally appropriate products, you know, since we're going to the spring, summertime. Okay, enough. So foundation. Armani Beauty has recently reformulated their Luminous Silk Foundation, and I liked the previous version, but I love this version. It is, I think, a lot friendlier for dry skin. The previous version had a more natural finish. This has just a hint more radiance to it, and I just think for my dry skin, it just looks absolutely beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So for shade reference, if you do use me as shade reference, I use shade number 2. And it's wonderful. It has like a light medium coverage. Out of all of the foundations I'm going to be talking about today, this probably has, well, maybe it's tie, but it has like a little bit more coverage than I personally like for the everyday, but it just is so comfortable on the skin. It's so luminous, and it's really just beautiful. And I'm so in love with this reformulation. So that's the Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. Absolutely loving that, especially when I want like a very like polished look. The next foundation I wanted to recommend is a skin tint. So it has a very similar coverage to the Armani Luminous Silk, maybe a little bit lighter. And I have liked wearing this particular foundation with like a glowy kind of like liquid highlighter, because this does have a very like natural skin like finish. But what I love about this foundation is its formula. It wears really well, and that is the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Gel Tint. And boy, does it have grip. And so I really wanted to recommend it for this particular season, because when the months get warmer and we tend to sweat a little bit more, we spend a little bit more time outside, maybe we're on vacation, I think we want long-lasting foundation or things that help its longevity. This is really great. And in the past, longer wearing foundations have always meant maybe a little bit fuller coverage, maybe a little bit drier looking on the skin, cakier looking, but Milk really nailed this formula in that it has just a very natural sort of finish, and it stays down, but it's not drying at all. It's not thick. I don't think the coverage is like exceptionally high. I would say it's a light medium. It's just wonderful, and it just wears really well. So I wanted to mention it especially for this video. And I do wear shade number 3 for those of you who are using me as shade reference, shade number 3. Really love that skin tint. And last but not least, in terms of foundations, I want to talk about what I'm wearing on my skin. This is very new. I've been wearing it ever since I filmed a trying new makeup video for you guys. That was the first time I tried this foundation, and I've been wearing it ever since. It is the Refy Skin Base, and I have it in shade 140N, and it's got such a great dispenser. It's one you press down, the foundation comes out of this hole, and you can use this area of the foundation dispenser as like a palette. So I just go in with my brush, I pump a little bit out and I just use my brush to swipe it across and then I apply. So it's really nice. I don't have to use the back of my hand or whatever. So it's really nice. It's nice and self-contained. So that's the packaging. It's very light, plastic bottle, so great for travel. And this, again, this is what I have on my skin today. And it has a light coverage. It evens out just slightly, like kind of evens out my skin tone. It perfects it in a way that I think is more about the formula versus coverage, where I feel like it really smooths my skin. It really smooths out my complexion. It's lovely. It's really, really lovely. I don't think there's any fragrance to it. It's just a very almost like pared down foundation to exactly what I like. It has a nice creamy texture. It's got some skincare in there. There's some like hydrating complex in there. So it's really, really great. I think not only for dry skin, but for those of us, here, it's the summertime. I think we have a lot of air conditioning going on, which really, really dries out my skin. Or if you do spend a lot of time outside, the sun, even though you're sweating in the moment, I think can end up or eventually be very, very drying for your skin, very taxing for your skin. So I really like this foundation, the light coverage, the skincare, the formula, the texture, everything about this particular foundation is really, really wonderful. And I think very, very appropriate for the spring, summer seasons. Okay, for bronzers, I am really in love with the new Westman Atelier Sun Tone Bronzing Creme Duo. So I've got Soleil Parfait 1 here. This is the lightest out of 4 shades. Let me do some swatches for you here. So we have a bronzing side, that's the lighter side here, and then more of a bronzing contour side here. So that's how they suggest you apply it. Go in first with the lighter bronzing side, that would be the left side here, and apply that to like the highlights of your face, basically where you would see the most sun, and then go in with the deeper shade and use it kind of as like contour, like underneath your cheekbones, the edges of your face, etc., sides of your nose, whatever, or one or the other, however you want to use it. That's just how they suggest using it. And I just really, really love the tone, the formula. I love that there's 2 different shade options because I feel like right now, I don't necessarily need to like bronze and contour every single day. So I'll just go in with the lighter shade. And that's what I did today. I pretty much just put that not only where I would see the sun, tops of my nose, my forehead, top of my chin, but I use the same shade to, apply underneath my cheekbones and, apply to the temples or whatever, basically where I would contour. And it's fine. The one shade is fine. But I do feel like maybe if I do see a little bit more sun this summer, if I do get a little bit of a tan, I can use this for that same reason, just kind of all over. Or if I am feeling extra and I want both, I like having the option of both tones in here. The creamy texture of this is very, very nice. It's not too emollient, but it does blend out really, really easily. I have been using the Blender 2 brush with it that Westman Atelier released with this release, and it's a great pair. You don't have to use this brush, obviously, but if you've been interested in it, I really, really do like it. So really great formula. I think the tone is really, really beautiful. As you can see, the bronze side here, it has a little bit of a peachy pink tint to it, which I think is just gorgeous on the skin. It really, really emulates like a natural sort of sun-kissed look. And then the contour here, it looks quite warm next to here, but if you look at this by itself, it is quite neutral. So it's not a super cool toned contour, which is why I feel like you could use it as a bronze if you wanted to, but it is a little bit more neutral than the bronze. So anyway, really, really been loving this. Highly recommend this. And a lot of people have asked me, how I would compare this to the Dior sticks, how I would compare this to the Sun Tone drops from Westman Atelier. And I, as much as I love the Dior sticks, the Dior bronzing stick is much warmer than either of these tones. And then the Dior contour stick is much cooler than either of these tones. And then you only get one shade, per stick, basically. So this kind of is like right in the middle. And I feel like this is probably going to be more appropriate for more skin tones. But if you want something super cool, you want something, warm as a bronze, then maybe I would go Dior. And then in terms of the Sun Tone bronzing drops, I really, really do like the bronzing drops. I do find for the Soleil Parfait 1 Sun Tone bronzing drops is a little bit pinkier than this guy here. I would recommend this over the drops just because it's just a little bit easier to use. It's a little bit easier to travel with. It's a compact, it's a cream formula. It's just, you know, no mess, no worry about that. And then you can just pick up the product right out of the compact. So anyway, I really enjoy this cream bronzer. For powder bronzer, I have really been loving the Farrah Homidi Essential, what is this called? Refillable Essential Bronzer Compact. So here is the packaging. It's got a nice weight to it. And here is the powder bronzer. And this, let me just swatch it next to the bronze here. It is even pinkier and more cool toned than the Westman Atelier bronze. So if you do want something with a little bit more of like a pink undertone, you may want to go for this. Or if you just don't like cream products, maybe you have oilier skin, you just feel more comfortable with powder products, I would go with this powder bronzer. It just has a really nice, soft, silky texture. It blends out really, really beautifully. The powder's very, very fine. I don't ever find that I don't know, applying bronzer I feel like can be very intimidating, can be very scary. I think people feel like they can go overboard really quickly. But if you find the right formula where it's not like overly pigmented, you could just go in and kind of apply it like a powder. It's really, really nice, especially a bronzer like this one. The formula is so fine that you can really just kind of like brush it on just really lightly all over it. It just gives your skin that healthy sun-kissed glow. So that's the Farrah Homidi Essential Bronzing Compact in Bois. So this is the lightest tone in her line. Okay, blushes. I just had to recommend these Ilia blushes. Again, these soft blurring blushes. As you can see, I have 4 of them. I love all of the shades, but I will say the tone that I use the most, the shade that I use the most is Glimpse. It's this really beautiful neutral to cool toned pink. And these are a baked powder formula. And let me just do a swatch of all of these. So this is Glimpse. And you see how it has just the slightest little sheen there? It's so gorgeous, so gorgeous. So that's Glimpse. I also love to use Flutter, which is really soft, peachy toned. And you can see the warmth of that one. And do you see that little bit of sheen? It's not super metallic. It's not super duper bright. It's not like a highlighter or bronze topper. It just has a nice, beautiful, like satiny glow to it. And then Closer is really pretty if you want like a bright pink blush. This is actually going to be great. This one and the next one that I have is going to be great for the warmer months. I really like to wear bright blushes in the warmer months. So that's Closer. And then I've got Pulse, which is this bright, like poppy red. This one is so much fun. Look at that. And all of them, do you see that beautiful sheen that they have? Just gorgeous. And because they're a baked powder, I don't think they're like overly pigmented. They go on like a dream. The pigmentation level is perfect. The shades are absolutely gorgeous. The finish of them is gorgeous. I really, really love these powder blushes. They, I think, have like very quickly become some of my favorites. So that's the Ilia Soft Focus Blurring Blush. And then we had a little bit of an upset when it came to the next blush that I wanted to talk about. So I wanted to definitely talk about like a cream or cream to powder type of blush. And I had just recently gotten those Prada blushes, which are like a cream to powder. And I really enjoyed them. They made my list. I was like, I'll talk about those. I really like them. They're new, they're fun. I love Prada, as you guys know. And then Sarah Creole came out with their cream to powder blush. These are the Comin' in Hot, a blurring pressed mousse blush. And I have 4 shades. So I'll do swatches of all of them. But this one is Satisfaction. There's Satisfaction. Here is Love Bites. Oh my God. Here is Sunshine. Here's Sunshine. Let me do a swatch. And then here is Love Fool. Okay. These are gorgeous. Okay, I love all the shades. It is actually what I'm wearing today. I have on Satisfaction, which is the first one. This is like a corally pink. This is definitely like a warm pink. This is probably the warmest, like a warm coral here, and then this one is like a deeper rose shade. But I have satisfaction on. I wanted to put on something bright, but the pigmentation of these, it's a little bit more than the Prada, and it just goes on like a dream. They just blend out beautifully. They blend out really, really seamlessly. And I actually, when I first got these, I made a short, just like trying them out. I was like, let's just swatch. You know, I'm curious. I'm sure you guys are curious. So if you saw that short, you're probably wondering, you know, what's the follow-up, Michelle? Because I mentioned I'm going to be wearing that blush all day, which I did. And I get the feeling that they're going to last all day long because these have such an interesting, like slick kind of feeling to them. So that slickness, I think, really lends itself to the way they blend out. Just really, really smoothly, really nicely, very effortlessly. But they have this kind of like powderiness to them. So they're like emollient but powdery all at the same time. And I was like, it's the powderiness that felt like, I think these are gonna last a long time. And they did. I ended with, I think, these two shades when I did my short. So I just had like one on each cheek. I wore for the rest of the day and it looked exactly the same as when I applied it. So I'm in love with these cream to powder blushes. Look, I really like the Prada ones, but these I think are better. These I think are better. So anyway, I wanted to mention these, even though these are brand spanking new. I think these came out, when did I make that short? Maybe a couple days ago. So yeah, these are gorgeous. I love them. I did use a brush to apply them. I do like applying them with a brush. I think I'm just kind of a brush gal. I've said that before, but I do feel confident you could use fingers to apply this as well. I just happen to like a brush. And it was just so easy. It was like swipe, 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 done, like even. And they just have this sort of perfect, like ethereal glow to them. They don't have any shimmer or anything like that. You know, the finish of them is like a soft matte, but I think because they have that kind of slickness to them, they have a softness to the cheek. Anyway, she nailed it with this formula, I think. She nailed it with this formula, and the packaging is really nice, much like her other compact products. So those are the Coming in Hot blushes from Sarah Creole. Absolutely love them. Okay, highlighters. So let's start with what I have on my cheeks. I love these Hourglass Unreal liquid highlighters. I really loved the liquid blush that they came out with like last year. Same idea, same packaging, little dropper, you know, with the button here. I use the shade Infinite the most, and they have 4 other shades, which I really, really enjoy, but Infinite is the one that works the best for me. So Evoke has a little bit of a pink tinge to it. So if you have cooler skin, I would go for that one. And then we've got Mythic, which is a little bit deeper, a little bit warmer. I can use this one as well. I feel like as the summer progresses, this one is going to be used more. And then I've got Divine, which is a little bit deeper, a little bit pinker, and then Dream, which is the most bronzy. So like I said, I really like Infinite. That's what I have on today. I've been applying it with the Hourglass brush, the number 16 brush that came out with it. This guy right here. So just like a light sort of synthetic haired brush. And it is so beautiful. It's really, really nice and subtle. It has this really soft satin finish to it. And that is definitely one reason why sometimes I prefer cream or liquid highlighters over powder highlighters. Powder highlighters tend to be bolder. They tend to be stronger. They tend to have, of course, depending on its formula, but they tend to be more metallic, and they tend to show, I think, they show texture a little bit more. I find this to not show texture really. It is just such a smooth, soft highlight. I really, really love it. Now, when I do go out into the daylight, you'll see like little fine, like micro glitters, like just a little bit, like barely. And I did just want to point that out because I'm not the biggest fan of that, but it really doesn't bother me with this highlight because it is, well, the micro glitters are so subtle, but this highlight is so soft. It's just so beautiful. I think it applies really nicely. I think it dries down really nicely. It's not sticky. It's not wet. They just really, really nailed this formula. So the Unreal liquid highlighters from Hourglass, I love. Okay, and for powder highlight, these are new, just like the Hourglass Unreal liquid highlighters, very, very new. So the Givenchy Prism Libre highlighters. Now these are refillable, and I'm holding up Pearly Gold, 003 Pearly Gold. Let me do some swatches of this. So there's Pearly Gold. And I'm sorry, I forgot to do at least a swatch of Infinite for you. But I do have shorts swatching all of these, swatching and trying on all of these Hourglass highlighters if you're interested in that. But there is Infinite, there's Pearly Gold. And then the other shade that I have is Rosy Gold from Givenchy. And this is the one that I wear more than the Pearly Gold. The Pearly Gold is a little bit, and you'll see once I swatch, it's a little bit whiter than the Rosy Gold. The Rosy Gold actually, I think it should have been called Peachy Gold because I don't really see that much pink in there, rosiness in there, but I do see some peachiness in there. So I like that little bit of warmth where the Pearly Gold has a little bit of white gold in there. And then you can see Infinite. You can see it's a little bit more yellow than the Pearly Gold. So the Rosy Gold is gorgeous. These are really bright, like what I was just saying about powder highlighters. These Givenchy, really bright, really metallic, just, you know, seen from the stars kind of highlight. They're baked gel powder. I really like that formula. It's just really smooth. But I did notice that it does, especially compared to the Hourglass liquid highlighters, they do show texture a little bit more. So when I brushed it like a little bit too close to my nose, and it kind of picked up my larger pores here. So just keep that in mind. I mean, I think that's generally kind of like par for the course when it comes to highlighters that have like a really high shine. Maybe some more than others, but you know, generally, and that's sort of like the point of highlighters, it's really gonna like highlight your skin. So if you have texture there, it's gonna highlight the texture. So if you are worried about that, I would definitely go for like a liquid or cream highlighter because it tends to soften up your skin at the same time because of like the emollients. So just wanna point that out, but I really, really like if I want a super bold highlighter, I've been reaching for these Givenchy's. They're so much fun, so much fun. And I do happen to like the Rosy Gold more than the Pearly Gold. All right, let's move over to eyeshadow. Now, you know, this is probably the first time I'm gonna be talking about Natasha Denona eyeshadows, and it's not some like giant palette, but she came out with these quads and I just love them, and it's what I have on today. So I'm wearing the cool toned one. She came out with a cool tone, a rosy, and actually I have them here, rosy and nude. So here's rosy. I don't use this one that much, admittedly. But I do like this matte shade up here. And then this is the nude, which is very nude, a little bit warm leaning. And this one I feel like if I want, which is very funny since this is called nude, but something a little bit more dramatic and evening because these two shades, at least for my skin tone, are on the deeper side. But the cool toned quad is really just perfect for my taste, perfect for my skin tone. And I am wearing basically these three shades, this one, and this one. So I've got this one swept all over my eyelid. I've got this one, which is like a topper shade. I just have that kind of lightly tapped all over just to kind of give it a little glittery effect all over. And then this shade I have pretty much on the outer portion of my lid. But let me do some swatches of all these so you can appreciate the three different finishes that this quad has. So we've got two in this soft matte, and then this one, which is a metallic. And then this one is, I believe, like a sparkling foil kind of shade. So this is great as a topper. But isn't this just wonderful? You can just throw this on if you want to do like a really simple look. Again, if you have a similar skin tone to me, you can just throw this on for just like a little bit of dimension. You can just use these two if you just want like an all matte look, throw this on. If you want a little shimmer, this for evening. I mean, it's such a great, versatile quad. And I like these smaller compacts, especially for the coming months, because this is when we start to travel a little bit more, especially if you have families. Summertime is coming, summer break is coming. So I wanted to recommend this over any of those really large Natasha Denona palettes, even though I love them so much, like the I Need a Nude or the Glam palette. I love them so much, but this is just great. This is great. I mean, I think you get like the Natasha Denona feel, like if you just love her eyeshadows, yet it's portable, travel friendly, Really love them. And the Patrick Ta Essential, there's such a long name for this, Major Dimension Essential Artistry Edit Eyeshadow Palette. I have it in light Clair, and this is such a great basic palette. It's such a great palette to go with maybe a shimmery shade in another palette that you may like, and you just need to lay down some like matte shades. I love how these shades are basically like pretty neutral. These get a little bit warmer, but if you just focus on these four, it's pretty neutral. You'll get just a really neutral, softly dimensioned eye look. So gorgeous. I love, love, love the formula. Very, very soft, powdery formula. Let me do some swatches for you. The formula of these shadows, so silky soft. They just glide right on, even though they're just a powder. There's no cream to them or anything. And look at this range of neutrals. There's something so satisfying about that, isn't there? So satisfying. I love it. And when I traveled to Cabo earlier this year, I just brought this along and it was great. And I love that there's like 6 shades in here. It gives you like a nice range. It's just perfect. So this Patrick Ta palette I love. So I was so pleased that Sephora carried this next eyeshadow palette I wanted to talk about, but this is one of the limited edition Dior Quince. It comes in this packaging with like the faux quilted packaging, and this is just such a great, again, another great like everyday kind of palette, which travel friendly and just really great for quick makeup looks. But I really like the variety of finishes and like effects that the shadows in here have. So let me do some swatches of these. So the top 2 shades, look at this metallic sheen. Is that not glorious? So smooth. And then the bottom 2 shades, one is like a soft satin. Here's that peach shade, really beautiful soft satin. And then here's the darker brown shade, which is more like a soft matte. And then the center shade is this beautiful, very similar to Beige Mitza or Cosmopolite. If you guys are old like me and you remember Cosmopolite, it's gorgeous. It's got this gorgeous sheen to it. It's got this deeper brown over color, and then the undercolor is peach. I find this one to be a little bit peachier than the Beige Mitza, but I think it's great because it really ties in all the other tones in this palette. I love this palette. I think it's so beautiful. And again, like all the variety of different finishes is gorgeous. And this shade is especially stunning, but look how smooth these metallics are. Just gorgeous. I'm sad that this is limited edition, but I'm happy that Sephora has it and just in time for this sale. Okay, just one more palette. I wanted to recommend the Tom Ford Eye Color Quad Creme in Olive Smoke. So Tom Ford, they seem to be kind of slowly redoing their entire makeup line. And so they redid their eyeshadow quads. You know, we know that these quads were just some longtime favorites of ours. It looks like they've come out with like a powder formula, and then they've redone this cream formula. And I really enjoyed the previous cream formula. This is definitely different. It feels different to me. It feels a little bit slicker to me, but they're really beautiful nonetheless. Different, but beautiful. So let me do some swatches. Now, the Olive Smoke, I think is just gorgeous. It's just gorgeous because the top 2 shades give you a really nice kind of basic, soft, metallic-y satin look. You can just jazz it up with this olive color and of course this black matte shade you can use as liner. But let me just swatch these up here. I mean, isn't that sexy? It's just such a sexy quad. And when I look at these 3 shades up here, I just picture like silk satin pajamas, you know, like in these shades, just like flowing. There's so much movement in these shades, this like metallic creme formula. Oh, they're absolutely stunning. And yeah, I'm having a great time just using these 2 and then adding this for like a little drama. So gorgeous. So that's the Olive Smoke. There's actually another creme quad that I really, really enjoy, but it doesn't look like Sephora carries it. It's the Ember Bronze one. I don't know if that changes for whatever reason. I enjoy that one too, but right now it looks like they have Olive Smoke, and I believe the other one that they have is Rose Quartz, which is also very beautiful, but this is sexy. This is really sexy. Like, can you imagine this with like really bronze skin, really glowy bronze skin with like a nude lip and just kind of a heavy eye with this? Oh my God, like a dinner out, if you're like on a beach vacation. Okay, the last eyeshadow I wanted to mention, sorry, so many eyeshadows, are these Merit Solo Shadows because they came out with like a soft satin finish. The first release of these, they were matte. I really like them. I think some people found them kind of hard and tacky. I happen to enjoy that, but these, the metallic ones, definitely have a slicker kind of formula to them. So I find them to be even easier to use and to blend. So the two shades that I've been using the most are Palladium and Glacé. So here is Palladium. Here is a great one and done. I'll do a swatch. There is Palladium. Isn't that beautiful? I've been meaning to try these as a highlight because I feel like they would make a really beautiful highlight. So that's Palladium, and then the other one is Glacé, which has a little bit more warmth to it. And I just like using these kind of all over my lid. It's kind of like highlighter for your eyes. But isn't that stunning? That peach kind of shines through at different angles. Really beautiful. Love the formula. Love these shades. I think there's like 6 or 8 shades. They're all really beautiful. At least all the ones that I've tried. And I think I've tried most of them. They're all really beautiful. Another one that stands out to me. I don't use it as much as these, but it's Iris, and that one has like a purpley tinge to it. So if you like something with like a little bit more drama, that's a really nice one. But the formula of these make these very, very easy to use. Like I said before, I generally just like to use brushes, but this is great with your finger. So really perfect for travel, super duper fast, and really gorgeous. So these are the Solo Shadow Sheens. Very, very gorgeous. Palladium and Glacé. Okay, moving on to lips. I love the Westman Atelier Hydro Bombs. I have 3. And the one that I use the most, I cannot find right now because I'm sure it's in a bag or something, but that's the shade Nectar. You guys have seen me use that 1,000 times. So I'm glad actually that's the one that I misplaced. But I also have Cafe Creme, which is such a gorgeous nude shade. And these just feel so great on the lips. I love that they just have this super duper light tint. So you can just pair it with like your favorite lip liner. I love that soft nude, but there's like that sheen to it. Slightly kind of satiny metallic sheen to it. I love this nude color because it is straight up like a cool toned brown. They didn't add any warmth to it. They didn't add any like pink to it to just make it a little bit more pleasing. I just love like a rock solid kind of brown, especially when the tint is this soft. So it's gorgeous. And these are really, really balmy. They wear really nicely. I mean, it's a balm, and I don't think any balm is necessarily like long lasting, but I don't find myself having to reapply it that often. It's a balm that's not too loose, too oily or too goopy or anything like that. It's a pretty dense stick. I mean, it does come in stick form versus like a cream or liquid form. And so I find it easier to apply, and I do find it a little bit longer lasting than most balms. And then the other shade that I have is Soda, which is a deeper brown. Look at how great that is. This guy, can you see it has just the slightest hint of purple in there? And you can also see it has a little bit more pigmentation than the Cafe Creme. That's a pretty heavy swatch, but it does have more pigmentation in it than the Cafe Creme, which is pretty sheer. But this is also very gorgeous. Nectar is just like Cafe Creme, where it's very, very sheer. It has like a peachy tint to it, and it also has like a little bit of this metallic sheen. The Soda also does just a little bit, but probably because it's a deeper shade, it's not as easy to see. But look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love, love, love the formula and the shades. I'm actually going to be picking up 2 shades myself during the sale. I'm going to get Ballerine and English Rose. I think those are the 2. And then there's one that's like a warm toned red that I think I may get as well. I just want all of these. I think I'll end up with all of the shades. I did also want to mention the Prada Banana Balm. I do feel like I've been talking about this a lot lately, but this is such a great product, I think, for the spring, summertime. I mean, it's a banana balm. There's no better season than the spring, summertime for banana balm. And it has just such a gorgeous sheen. Do you see that sheen? It is literally like highlighted for your lips. There's a little bit of pink, a little bit of peach, like slightly metallic. It's just gorgeous. It's gorgeous all by itself, and it's just a great balm. It feels great. It's low stakes. It's non-committal because it is so sheer, but it just gives your lips like a little bit of like a finished appearance. And I love that it's yellow. I love that it's Prada. It has, I don't know, it's supposed to smell like banana. I guess it kind of smells like banana. It just smells kind of like a fruit, but it's so light, it doesn't bother me. The glosses that they just came out with, I don't like as much as these balms. These balms are really nice. The texture and everything is really, really nice. The glosses, they're okay. I think a lot of them have a funny odor. I don't know. I would just prefer to use the balms. So anyway, those were kind of a disappointment for me. Not my favorite, but one of my favorite balms out of the 4 that I got is the banana yellow one. I do really like that banana yellow. It just looks really pretty. Looks really pretty on the lips. And last, but certainly not least, it's the lipstick that I'm wearing today. I have re-fallen in love with the Tom Ford lipsticks. I really took a long break from these guys, but because Tom Ford has been slowly kind of redoing their line, they did not redo their lipsticks as far as I can tell, at least not for like several years. When I was shopping for their new blushes, when I was shopping for their new eyeshadows, I was just kind of poking around and I was like, oh, they're lipsticks. I don't have any of the lipsticks left anymore. These I just recently got. And I just remember, loving them. I got really nostalgic about them. And so I picked up the one shade that I remember really, really loving, Sable Smoke. So that's what I have on today. It's this warm leaning nude shade. And this formula, it's so good. It's so, so good. It's so creamy and comfortable on the lips. And it does have that kind of, vanilla birthday cake smell. But I don't know, for some reason, the Tom Ford version of it annoys me less than any of the other ones out there. It really doesn't annoy me at all. It's not like it lasts very long after I apply it. But oh my gosh, I just remember loving this nude shade. And I remember thinking back to what I thought about Sable Smoke. So I had, my hair was undyed, it was unbleached, and I had dark hair with, a lot of gray in it. And this, I felt like it was fine, but it was a little bit too warm. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but when I bleached my hair, I thought that because I was bleaching it kind of cool tone, or I wanted it kind of cool toned, that cooler tone makeup was going to look better. But in fact, I think warmer tone makeup actually looks better. Maybe it's like a nice complement to the hair. And anyway, I was thinking back on that thought when I wanted to reorder the Sable Smoke. I was like, oh, I bet I'm going to like it even more now. And I do. This is like the perfect nude for me. And I just love a nude lip when my skin gets a little bit bronzier in the summertime, or when I'm going harder with, bronzer or whatever. So that's Sable Smoke. So glad I got it. I loved it so much. I picked up another shade. So this is a shade I don't believe I ever had before. This is West Coast. And this one is warm, but there's like a bit of rosiness to it. It's actually a really interesting shade. It's almost like a cool toned terracotta or a warm toned like English rose shade. So it's kind of in between. It's just very, very interesting. And I actually wore this when I put on the Ember Bronze eye color quad, and it was such a great, great pairing. But that's West Coast. All right, guys, don't forget to subscribe if you want to check out the other videos that I've got coming up for the Sephora sale. I'm definitely going to be doing a haul video on top of some other recommendations videos. Subscribe if you're loving my content. We would love to have you here, join the family, and let us know down below in the comment section. Well, one, if I forgot to mention something about all the products that I just talked about, if you have any questions or what's in your cart, what makeup are you buying, repurchasing, trying out for the first time. Would love, love, love to hear from you guys. So leave that down below in the comment section and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Happy shopping. Again, for Rouge members, you can start shopping tonight if you're on the West Coast at 9 p.m. Or if you are a night owl and you're on the East Coast, you can start shopping at midnight. And the code to shop online is SPRINGSALE. So anyway, all the details down below in the description box. I will see you in my next video.